It's me, George. Too much guitar, not enough jazz. What's wrong with the sound? Because not, is it the guitar or is it the track? Maybe something's up with my phone. I don't know. That's weird. That's it. I don't know that. What's going on? Still off in what way? Out in California. I honestly don't know that solo. We hear a bit. I don't know. That sucks. It's German. My English isn't great. You know, it's alright. I don't know. Maybe this is a great place. I'm not sure. its paths there. It loses quality by the tone. It's like what you call in English. I don't know. You better connect your guitar to PC. It sounds terrible. Yeah. I think something's going on with the sound, but I'm not sure. And it's not getting enough. Her voice is also not clear. Now that's fucked. Okay. Mystery solved. Man, it should get a lot better real soon. I'll do it. Let's see. What is the best way to emphasize chord tones as a beginner? Are you taking any requests? No, I'm not. Let's see. Is the PT100 the current version? Thanks, McMac. Of the OD100. It's a spin-off. It's not the current version of that thing. But how to set a killer fusion tone? It's I think I was doing some things not wrong, but different, because I would always use the dirty channel of my amp to get the gain, and sponginess, like the whole concept of like having a spongy response from the amp. It took me years to understand what that word means, even though I was reading about it for years. But there's a sort of feeling where like it's a type of compression, and it has more to do with feel than it does with sustain, or like it response. I guess it changes the response. And dirty channels of an amp give you a sound that's more like in the Van Halen school of guitar. And then when you kind of stage your gain, like adding more pedals to that, it just gets progressively more squashed. So some amps, like Victory amps or something, are like to give you a really good like dirty platform, and when you add stuff to them, it doesn't really, you get more gain, but they're already like kind of all broken up and spongy and compressed in that kind of way. And that's a pretty negative type of sound for legato. Alan, like Holdsworth kind of stuff, is more like having a clean amp and doing like the gain staging with pedals or a preamp or whatever into it, right? So because you're looking for a fast response, you're looking for the opposite of sponginess. You're looking for this thing where when you touch the fretboard, you know, it kind of, the note happens really quickly. So you want to have that kind of thing happen where the notes are just kind of popping out. And I think most people associate that kind of sound with fusion. In my band for years, I was going the other route. Have you played a Cornford amp? I have. Yeah, I like those. Those are not bad. Um, it's, I mean, I think they're very similar to the Victory designs. I think it's basically the same company rebranded. Um, Thanks, Micmac. Mm, let's see. Is it best to emphasize chord tones as a beginning solo player? I think you need to, like, if you're trying to get good at improvising, you need to do like two things a lot. You need to work on flow, which is your ability. It seems counterintuitive, but your ability, and that's most of what I do when I practice. Like, you know, people are like, you know, you leave no space. And I'm just like, well, that's a lot of how I practice. The ability to just play continuously, to noodle, but like not noodle. You see, like when most people practice, they, like, you know, they practice little bursts of ideas. Like they practice, people who aren't good at phrasing and try to work on it, ironically, will just play a bunch of bad phrases, hoping that their phrasing gets good. So think about the flow as your ability to write a run on sentence forever, right? You just want to keep the rhythm going to where the sentence never comes to a stop. Phrasing is more like when you take that flow and, like, you know, you're just constantly, like, you know, verbal diarrhea, just talking, 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 and you're introducing now your ability to cut it up into logical pieces, into phrases, into sentences. And that typically has to do with how you, like, frame ideas with space. You can do it with a question answer kind of strategy, which has to do with resolving to specific parts of a mode. It has to do with leaving space for things to be absorbed. As that, it has to do with knowing when to go to the root to kind of end the paragraph. So having those kind of considerations when you're playing, I think, is really good. Like, for example, if I take like a track like that and I go, that's going to like the third, right? It sounds kind of like a question. But the sentence was super short, right? That's kind of like how, like, a couple that's been married for 50 years talk to each other. Yeah, how you doing? You know, just like really short. You don't use sentences that short when you're trying to actually describe something. So you want to have flow into that. So like a phrase could be something like, you know, could be anything, but right. Right, so then it kind of sounds like a question. You can do something else, resolve to the root. That's kind of like an answer to that end paragraph, right? So that'll be like, so they weren't symmetrical, but like one of them kind of ended on the third, one ended on the root. So you can start structuring your improvisation a little bit, like punctuating your ideas like that. Now, there are more interesting places to go than the third. There are also notes that kind of act like commas, right? Like if I go to the flat two on Dorian, it doesn't end the phrase. Like if I end the sentence there, it's not like, you know, saying something to somebody and ending on a, you know, that makes the whole thing I said incoherent in retrospect. So like ending on the flat two would be like, but I can use that flat two as a comma, meaning same sentence, but kind of keeps the sentence going, not the paragraph, but the sentence. Right? That makes sense? Yeah, dude. Marvin, they call us Marvin. There are no bad notes, just bad resolutions. I said there are no wrong notes, just wrong people. Um, can you show us some good strength skipping exercises? Burning Pain by Dixon. Are you an artist? I think so. Let's see. Damn, that sounds so good. Thanks. So somebody has something. Yeah. Yeah, I'll do more on phrasing. So when you're practicing patterns like any ideas on RG 550s? I don't know what they are. Are those Ibanez guitars from the RG? I'm guessing. So when you're doing any pattern, string skipping pattern, I think in the beginning it's really good to just work out the pattern kind of like as it moves in the scale. Like if I take a string skipping pattern, right? Something like that, right? Or I'm in E minor right now, right? Something like that. But when you'll notice that when you play phrases like that, you have that huge leap every time. Even if you kind of wind it. So what you want to do is maybe like decide how long the pattern is and learn how to voice lead, right? So voice-led patterns tend to be way more interesting to listen to because the brain doesn't hear them as a pattern. So I'll give you an example. Voice leading means that like the last note that you played in the pattern connects smoothly to the first note of the next pattern. So if I take like this is E Dorian, so if I take this pattern, the way people do it not voice led would be like, right? But if I go and then restart the pattern here, like the pattern to me is one note on the E string, three notes on the B string, or like on an adjacent string, and it's all descending. So if I do it here, and then here, to you it sounds like I'm playing an E Dorian mode descending, but to me I'm playing a collection of these patterns that are moving, right? So you can't see the seams. I can now, right? It's like a three octave scale or something, but I don't have to voice lead that way. I can go maybe like, right? So it makes you be able to improvise using some more physical patterns, but in a way, like when you're projecting contour, when you're like choosing notes, think about it like you're making a waveform, right? Like if you write the piece, like if you write what you did on a piece of paper, on notation paper, if you go like it's like like this diagonal line, right? Voice leading creates this thing where it's longer rising and fall contours. Would you like to improvise? How would you like to improvise on a piece which is on Dorian mode like Little Sunflower? Hey, Paul. Hey, I am Muslim from Sudan and I will explode a comment here. That's pretty funny. Have you heard or seen Matteo Mancuso? If so, what do you think of his style and the music he plays? He's cool. I like him. I went to see him live in Chicago. I had a fun night. Um, Hello from Long Island, New York. Gotta leave. See you, Randy. Um, can you play Titanic? I don't think so. What's your preferred pick? I don't have a preferred one. It's different for every guitar, honestly. But like, I'm using like just a Jazz 3 style one at the moment. So voice leading with key changes, yeah. Like if I play Summertime, right? It's just your ability to convey the harmonic motion through your line with smooth voice leading. So like Summertime would be like. Can you go through the Gypsy Jazz rest stroke? I saw Schofield last week playing solo with a loop pedal, pretty amazing. Do you think you're going to tour still when you're 70 plus? I don't know. At the moment, I have a 3-year-old, so it's hard for me to see myself touring like that when I'm like less than 40. How to avoid pattern playing, coming back to root, third, fifth, seven while soloing. It always gets me. So yeah, I think again, you don't need to avoid it. You just need to connect it. So if I'm if I'm playing on a track like that in E minor, and I find myself playing root like 7, 5th, or root 3, 5, 7, I can just kind of keep doing it, right? That's roots. That's the pattern. 1, 3, 5, 7, connecting it. Any place I start, that kind of idea. Did it kill the audio? Is the audio working right now? Cool. Is there a schedule or announcing for those lives? No, it's just whenever I have time in between things. monochrome strings. Yeah, exclusively actually. I do like them quite a bit on archtops. Like I've thrown like like the Tomastic Bensons on more than once. I think I actually have them on two of my guitars that I don't play. But rounds just have the sound to my ear. I like some people use them on like Julian Lodge plays it on Telly. It works great for him. But yeah, for me, I don't know. And I like the just kind of that Stevie Ray Vaughan bite. You can get the Django thing. It's always all those strings are like wound. They're cool. Yeah. So yeah, there's you do a different kind of feel. Hey, thank you so much for your videos. I've been learning a lot from them. You're very welcome. What makes Guthrie Govan so special to many guitarists? Do you like his playing? Greetings from Mexico. It's never been my cup of tea. I listen to it. It's really good. Yeah, I don't know. I've always gravitated to, I guess, a different style of music. It's not obviously like. I think he does exactly what he wants to do with it, And I think, like anything, it's like the music finds its audience. So there's a lot of people who like their aesthetic is like shrapnel records. You know what I mean? Like Greg Howe, Reggie Kotzen, those people vie, and like with like 1 foot inside, like a toe in fusion, like a little bit of Holdsworth, a little bit of like, these more like some saxophone players, and I think it's like the right balance for a lot of people. Like the amount of fusion they like, but really way more in the instrumental rock guitar. I think it communicates that way. Would you consider Django to be one of the most influential guitar players of all time? Certainly influenced me. I like him quite a bit. Do you have an exercise to get a nice vibrato like yours? I don't know, Megalovania, I don't know what that is. Vibrato is tricky because you can't work on vibrato away from the groove. It has to be, like the time of it has to, you're finding a way to make a note, like, like a long note, sit, like pulsate with, it's kind of like dance inside this thing. You're putting rhythm in the note, right? think about your hand like a dancer, and you have to do a motion that's kind of like it has to be in time, right? So it's like whip on, whip on, when don't get it, don't win, don't win, don't gain. Like it's not like people don't get good at playing vibrato because they don't have the flexibility in their mind to understand how it needs to be adapted manually to every situation. Do you think the Tim Henson Ichika style can be worked into improv fusion? I have no idea what that means, any of it. Hansen is, my only association is mbop, and I don't think you're talking about that. And I don't know what Ichika is. So I'm unhip, I suppose. I know it's probably like new players, but I just don't know them. Song. Right now I'm using, it's not Maxon, it's like that, the new company, because Maxon like cut off all their distributors, but it's not the SD9, it's the SH9, so it's the new version of that thing, which is literally the same sound with a more functional tone knob. Those are very well-known, influential innovators. Tim Henson is from Polyphia. Ichika plays solo, often a strat. Yeah. Yeah, I just don't know that kind of music, regardless. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. I think I do know who it is. Is that cat lady looking dude? Oh yeah, I do know who they are. Yeah, I don't like that stuff. That sounds like music for gamers to my ear. The other one, the Ichiba, or it's called Ichika. I don't know that. Young people should have their own stuff. I'm not against it, I just don't like it. play legato with a pick, legato just means the full value of the note. So if you're just running your notes together without and lifting right before they become chords, right? So this is not legato. That's a double stop. But if you go, right? What do you think about Matteo Mancuso? Gilad Ben Erosh, מה נשמע גלעד? ברוך הבא. I think he's good. I don't know. Everybody keeps asking me what I think about him. I think what you think. I see him. I got finger banged too. It's hard to believe he does it, and then you believe it, and yeah. It's like it's good. But yeah. Does Patreon have improv material on rhythm changes? It actually does, yes. It does. לילה טוב אבא. Where do you think fusion music is going? Well, anywhere is better than where it's at. So yeah, with adding hammer-ons and stuff like that to like a funk context. Yeah, it's like let's say kind of thing. The thing that's difficult about that is it's just lightening up. You have to lighten up your funk touch, which is hard to do, to make it even with those legato notes. It kind of feels like it's dropping out a little bit. Yeah, it's like your right hand goes from like this position to kind of your typical legato thing. So I think that's the hard part. I mean, you're correct that it's a little bit awkward. Like for me, when I'm in funk mode, I typically kind of keep my wrist floating and play more like in a Stevie Ray Vaughan Django-esque kind of thing for a lot. And that's more of like trying to make the texture of the notes more like the texture of the strumming. Right? So the legato stuff blends a little bit more dynamically with like a pianistic approach to comping, right? Like, this kind of like hybrid thing where you're like playing notes with the pick or in the fingers. Like a Wayne Krantz kind of like. Just makes a texture that's a little bit more connected. So I would say that's the main challenge, not the rhythm or the rhythmic accuracy. It's just the articulation of the rhythm that makes the difference. Okay, cool, guys. I'm gonna have to cut it short. Be sure to join our Patreon and subscribe to the channel and all that good stuff. And probably see you tomorrow at some point. Peace out.